Hello, hello, everyone. Rebecca Olson here. It's Casual Friday, as you can see. I'm sporting my kids' Dragons t-shirt because it's Friday and it's Spirit Day. But I wanted to come here on this live to talk to you for a few minutes about something that comes up a lot for women, which is that we blame ourselves, right? And this comes up when it comes to work-life balance as well, and when we think about creating a life that we're happy in, that we feel calm in, that we would, describe as being balanced, we sort of blame ourselves for the fact that we don't have that life. And I want to debunk this idea for a moment because when we can get out of the loop that somehow it's our fault, it actually opens up the possibility of us creating new habits and rhythms and actually going out to find a solution for work life balance, right? So if you've ever thought, I should have this figured out by now. Why do other women seem to have it all figured out and I don't? If that's been you, then this short little live is going to be for you. So, I think we as women have been taught for years that we're supposed to be able to manage everything, right? Literally, we live in a culture, we live in a society that tells us that women are the managers of life, of the household, and at the same time, we're supposed to be having this career, and so we learn these messages that we should be able to do it all, right? That this shouldn't be so hard. And so then we start to internalize that failure because we start seeing that maybe other women somehow magically are able to figure it out because we see it on social media and we're sort of comparing our worst lives to their best lives. And maybe we have examples of women in our lives in our past or moms or whomever that seem to have it figured out. And so we start internalizing this idea that we should be more organized, that if we just tried a little harder, then we would be able to figure it out. And, if somebody else is able to do it, then I'm able to do it. And so that's what it starts to sound like in our head. And we start to blame ourselves for some incapability of being able to manage our life and balance it in a way that feels sustainable and good and joy filled to us. But what this leads to when we blame ourselves for our lack of balance, it leads to overcompensating, like literally needing to do more to sort of prove ourselves and to prove to others that we are capable and we can do this. Or kind of the opposite of that, it leads to shutting down, kind of withdrawing, going into paralysis on some level, like just kind of folding into the idea like I am incapable and I can't do this. And we kind of perpetuate that cycle. It also leads to a lot of guilt and a lot of shame. We sort of self-deprecate ourselves, right? We have a real negative voice in our head that tells us we should be able to do more. And why can't we figure this out? And it kind of becomes this like internal whip that is constantly berating us. And I think it also leads us to not ask for help when we really need it because we believe that the problem is us. And so we should be able to fix it. And so we don't delegate or we don't ask for help. We don't ask for advice. We don't go invest in things that would help us out, right? Because that perpetuates more of this story that it's our fault. But here's how I want to reframe this for you. You're not broken. Okay? The system has been broken. And when you stop trying to fix yourself and you start questioning the systems and the expectations and the beliefs that you have literally inherited, everything changes. And so, what becomes possible when you believe I'm not the problem is you start to actually problem solve for how to make the systems work for you, right? We can't overall systemically change all the systems that are going on in our culture and in our jobs and in our workplaces and in the government or whatever. We can't do that, but we can start to figure out to make systems that work for us, that fold into the rhythms of life that we want, right? And so we actually start problem solving, strategically thinking about how to create boundaries without guilt and how to delegate without feeling like we're overwhelming people and how to not respond to our kids with snapping and feeling and kind of this reactive mode. We start thinking about how to stop hustling all of the time to like prove ourselves, right? We start to actually do systematic things that make our life feel better, okay? As an example of this, I have a few clients that are in my Ambitious and Balanced program right now that are just killing it. And we've only been working together for 7, 8 weeks at this point. The program is 3 months long. And so I just recently did this interview with a couple of them, and they were telling me how one of them has started to make a lot more time for herself. She's already read 12 books this year, which is like mind blowing to me. But she said most of those have just been in the last 6 to 7 weeks because she's given herself permission to have the life that she wants to have. She stopped believing the systems were broken and that there was no time for her to read books, which she absolutely loves. And she was like, no way, I'm going to create a system where books actually are a part of my life, a part of my rhythm, because that's important to me, right? There's another client of mine that stopped believing the system that there was too much to do and not enough time to do it, and stopped believing that she was stressed out and overwhelmed by all of her to-dos. And instead, she started to actually figure out what it was going to take for her to get more done in her workday, so she was more effective with her time, and what it was going to take for her to stop logging on after her kids were to sleep. And now, again, like 7, 8 weeks into this program that she's been in with me, she has stopped working in the evenings. Like when she's off work, she's off work, and she doesn't feel bad about it. She doesn't feel guilty about it. In fact, she feels more successful because she's more productive during the days, and she's not berating herself for the things that she doesn't get done. And so she's just completely reclaimed her evening time and her me time. And I think she told us a couple of weeks back that she like went on a friend's date in the middle of the week, and she just bought concert tickets. She loves going to concert, right? She's literally reclaiming her life because she stopped believing the systems that were out there, stopped believing that it was her fault and that there was no systems that were going to work for her. And instead, she started believing that she could create the rhythms and the life that she wanted for herself. If you are someone that has been believing this story, that balance is impossible, right? That this is just hard for us as working moms, that there's no way that I can do this, like you're incapable of this, like you're the problem, right? And that you have to fix you in order to create a life that you truly love living. If that's been you, I want to tell you that this program, Ambitious and Balanced, this is the most transformational experience you will ever have, because we stop believing the lies. We stop believing that the systems don't work for us, and the expectations and the beliefs that we've inherited are the ways that we have to live, right? And instead, we create for yourself your own success story. Literally, together, we're going to define for you what it means to be successful as a working mom. You don't have to define it how anybody else defines it. You don't have to define it how society defines it. You don't have to define it how your mom defined it, right? You define it for you. And you define it based on what really matters to you and the goals and the vision that you have for yourself and your family and your life. Right? And once we take the time to reclaim that success story for you, then we start piecing apart how to actually make that happen. How do you do effective boundary setting? What does it look like to actually prioritize your time without guilt? What does it look like to delegate properly? How do you actually take time for yourself, ask for time for yourself, advocate for time for yourself, so that your life is not just about work and it's not just about family, it's about filling your own cup. I literally walked you through this process of defining your own success story, believing that you are worthy and capable of having that success story and living it out, and then giving you the tools around prioritization, boundary setting, mindset shifting, emotional capacity, and emotional resilience. That's all going to help you actually implement that. It's called Ambitious and Balanced because that's really what it's about for us as working moms. It's about keeping those ambitious goals and going after your career at the same time, still being a mom that you want to be. I still have a couple more spots in the cohort that is starting right here in mid-May. We actually start next Friday, the 16th, and that is the beginning of our virtual retreat. After that, we start meeting weekly for 3 months on Thursday mornings. And there is a community app that we use to just connect with the women that are in this program. You'll get a workbook in the mail. Yes, in the mail, where you can actually like go through the process together. Oh my gosh, working moms. I only take 10 women into this program. So it's a small cohort of women that are all looking to create sustainable work life balance that they feel in control of, that is built around a life and a vision of life that they want to have. I would just love for you to join. If this is of interest to you at all, please do go to my website, RebeccaOlsonCoaching.com, and then /ambitious and balanced. That's where you're going to find all of the information about the group. There's also a link there where you can book a consultation call with me to get more information to make sure you're the perfect fit. I have plenty of time in my calendar over the next week to talk to you. It is not too late to join this next cohort and truly reclaim your life and define it on your terms. Can't wait to talk to you. Till next time. All right, let's get to it.